Welcome to Live to 120 with Bracha, a podcast about health and wellness, empowering you to live long and live strong. Today, we're diving into the truth about feeding your baby, the guilt, the pressure, and the choices no one prepares you for. Tamari Jacob is a lactation consultant and founder of One with the Pump. She is an incredible source of support for new mothers and mothers everywhere. Tamari Jacob, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. Tamari, for those who do not know you, and I feel like everyone knows you in this world, but in case you've been living under a rock, who are you? And obviously,
Also, in case you haven't had babies recently, I find that a lot of people stick around, but to get to know me, you usually have had a baby recently, which not everyone has. So hi, my name is Tamari Jacob. I'm founder of One with the Pump, which is an online lactation business where I support every mom who pumps. So whether you are an exclusive pumper, meaning you're only pumping, or you are a nursing mom who needs to pump for other reasons, such as going back to work, you want a minute away from your baby, or other reasons. So we help you do all of those things. In addition, we have a good time over at One with the Pump. We're a lifestyle. We do mom life. I am mom to 4 kids, and we just have a lot going on. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about all the good topics that we love to talk about.
Yeah, and I mean, you've lived a life. I feel like you have, I've lived multiple lives. You've lived a lot of lives.
I feel like we do need to say that, Bracha and I have known each other since
before we were Bracha and
since
Tamari.
We were 18 years old. So we know, a very different, actually, I would say a different version of me, but I'm actually quite similar to then how I am now. I guess we just they manifest differently, the different ages that you are, right?
We evolve. So I always say, there's pieces of us that are so similar and pieces that are so different. I mean, you weren't Tamari with the headset all those years ago. This is the new one.
Listen, this is an improvement.
We got the headset.
Not everyone gets this. Well, I feel like we do need to say, guys, I don't normally have this headset, but my husband, who is in IT, he got this set up for me, and I don't normally use a headset because I'm just I just speak, but we wanted it to sound really clear, so we chose to use a headset. So you guys get to watch me in my customer service headset. My husband and I have matching, and I hope you appreciate it.
One second, but it's so on brand. It's so on brand because you're all about supporting your customers. You look amazing.
I sport this. This is great.
One second.
I hope you all enjoy.
Next year product list. Customize One with the Pump headsets for all new subscribers.
Yes, but still look like this.
Oh, you're amazing.
It'll be great.
But I think your journey is so interesting and how you found this particular niche. Tell us, how did you become One with the Pump? Because it wasn't such a linear journey. It wasn't I always knew I was going to be a lactation consultant.
No, it certainly was not. It's really crazy to think back on where you are now. This was in 2020, well, it was really 2017 when I had my first son, and I was a first-time mom, and I just assumed that I was going to nurse him, and I didn't really, as most first-time moms, didn't really think twice about it. I was just I'm sure it'll work. I'll just put him on and it'll be fine. It was not fine. He did not just go on, and we went on for a tumultuous, very stressful journey for about 2 months where I kept trying to nurse him. I went to every lactation consultant under the sun, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on products and support and just everything. And it was incredibly, incredibly stressful. And in the end, I ended up what's called exclusively pumping. And for those of you who don't know, that means that you only pump. Your baby does not nurse from you. So you pump however many times a day you need to based on how many months you are postpartum. So somewhere between 4 and 8 times a day, you are just pumping and you take that milk and you put it in a bottle and you give it to your baby. So your baby gets either exclusive breast milk or breast milk and formula, but I am pumping and he was not nursing for me. So it was a very, very difficult journey. I felt very resentful towards him, him being my newborn baby, because I wanted to nurse and it was not working. And it was incredibly stressful, and I was just sad, and I was grieving this journey that I didn't even, it happened so quickly, but I was fighting for 2 months to try to nurse him, and absolutely did not work. And finally at 2 months, I kind of made peace, whatever peace I could make, and I ended up nursing, and I ended up exclusively pumping, and it was what it was, and I ended up pumping for till he was 10 months old, and then I finished up the last 2 months with formula, and then we went on to the rest of our relationship. I just say that had nothing to do with breast milk. And it was just him and me. And it was great. And we kind of just went with it. And I didn't really, after you stop pumping and after people stop asking you how you're feeding your baby, you know, after they're 1 year old,
Yeah.
you kind of just move forward. So it was okay. And then in 2020, I had my next baby, who I was sure this one would work. But then I don't know if you guys remember what happened in March of 2020. There was a worldwide pandemic.
That little thing. That
little thing that I did not expect. I'm not sure I could have expected that one. So yet again, I had no idea I had a nurse. This was my daughter. And this was, remember guys, March to April. It was very in between. It was limbo. There was nothing virtual yet. And there was nothing in person. We were all just kind of like in limbo.
Yeah.
Zoom wasn't really a thing yet. So I had no help again. And I ended up exclusively pumping again, which ended up being the biggest blessing of my life, because I was like, you know what? A couple of my friends had babies at the same time. And I was like, let me just go ahead and put this on an Instagram just for my friends, because like all my friends were like, word was, I guess, getting around that like this friend as that, like that friend, like, oh,
Yeah.
had the settings for the pump. And it's like, oh, you know, knows Tamari from high school. So I'm like talking to these girls like randomly that I never connected with, like, or haven't connected with in years. And I was like, let me just like for fun, put it on Instagram. I actually asked like two of my friends, I was like, should I just do this? And they're like, yeah, why not? So I'm waiting at my 4-month appointment for my daughter. It was June of 2020. I put up an Instagram. I came up with a couple of usernames inside the waiting room, waiting for the doctor to come in. I was like pumped with mom. And then I think my brothers had watched Star Wars the night before. And I was like, be one with your pump. Be one with your pump. And that's how One with the Pump was born. And then thankfully, I'll shorten the next 5 years. I ended up, I was a preschool teacher, and I was teaching preschool while building this business. I was seeing moms at 6 a.m. during my lunch break, and at night. I was posting content at 7 a.m. right before my students came in. I was doing it all simultaneously for 3 years until very thankfully I was able to leave the classroom and do One with the Pump full times and help 10 times the amount of moms and be on podcasts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And here we are today. That's the shortened version.
It's such an amazing journey you've been on. And what I think is so striking is I remember you posting on our group chat, so humbly, like, hey guys, I'm making this Instagram. Like, if you feel like it might help you, give me a follow. And I was like, wow, where were you? Because I don't know if you knew this, but my first child, I had an emergency C. He was in NICU for a week. And I know you've talked about this a lot, but a lot of NICU moms, it's just, you're really off to a very, very hard start if you want to breastfeed.
And this was your first.
This was my first. So, no one explains that to you. And so I wanted to breastfeed so badly. I thought it would for sure happen for me. And it just didn't. It didn't for a lot of reasons. And I remember I got to a place where I was like, I'm tired of both of us just crying. Like, we would just both cry.
That's really what it is. Both of you are just crying all day.
Yeah. And so I decided to exclusively pump with my first son for 7 months. And I didn't know anybody else that exclusively pumped, which is so interesting that you and I were on these parallel journeys, had no idea.
And we didn't even know.
We didn't even know.
Because no one talks about it.
No one.
I didn't know one other person that pumped. I think back, I wish we both knew that about each other, but neither of us knew that the other one was doing it, because it wasn't shameful, but it definitely wasn't something to be proud of at that time.
It was weird.
It didn't feel.
I felt like
I didn't feel proud of it. I felt like a failure, to be honest.
So I felt like a failure because everyone's like, if you pushed him harder, and I was like, but I tried. And I also think, and this is something that I feel like you've talked about a lot, like, people hadn't heard about it, at least the people in my circles. And so they were like, this is super, you're like a weird person. And I was like, it was almost like, but if you can't nurse him, you should just give him formula. And I was like, but I don't want to do that. I want to pump.
Yeah. This like in between was very, very unheard of.
Yeah. And so for me, I went through that journey. Now my second was a different journey. I had my son, my second son, April 2020. So really parallel journeys.
We really did this together, didn't we?
We did this, but my second son, and I don't know why, because I was ready to pump with him and do all this stuff. He just wanted to nurse. And
great.
I nursed him for 15 months, which was bizarre. But I remember like you had come up with all your content then. And I was like, this is, even though I wasn't exclusively pumping, it was so healing for me to hear and to see what you were saying. And I think you did like one.
Oh, thank you.
No, I, and that's why I'm laughing. Like, I follow your content. I'm not exclusively pumping, but I think it was such a healing thing for me to see someone take the time and acknowledge, like, hey, I didn't want to do this. I was I don't remember which post you did, but something like, I was forced into doing this. And if you were too, like, it's okay to be upset about that.
I think I wrote, I was forced into exclusive pumping and I'm still not over it.
Yes.
It's very big. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me. That's like I have so many different goals through this business and through this, I hate even calling it a business because I feel like all I want to do is help moms, but like technically I guess it is a business. And I have so many different avenues that I try to do. But the main thing is that I remember, and it sounds like you could relate, how lonely that time was. And how there were no resources. Instagram was like not a thing yet, or like there was no stories yet. It was like, it was not really a thing yet.
It was nothing like it is today.
Nothing like it is today. I remember because I was like Googling blogs about it. So like, that's where we were. I know blogs are still a thing for some people. But I remember like I found a Facebook group, and I think the biggest thing is the grief that you have from there that go so unnoticed. So thank you for sharing that it was healing for you after the fact. That makes me, not that this is about me, but that makes me feel really good to hear that I was able to do that for you, because that's one of the biggest goals about my page or my, what One with the Pump is to connect and make moms feel seen no matter how they are feeding their baby, whether it's nursing, pumping, a combo, formula, whatever it is. It's more than fed is best, because in my opinion, fed is best is fed is best. Fed is best. We all know fed is best.
It's such a
cop out. What do you mean fed is best? No, like this mom is working super hard to try to nurse and it isn't working. And so fed is best. Give the baby formula. No, it's not. Let's try to figure out something deeper, because a mother's mental health is also best. And, I always say, like, your baby needs you more than your breast milk. And there is nothing that a baby needs more than a happy and healthy mom. And those things coincide. It's not just fat is best. That's that I feel like that's so dismissive of so many moms to just say that, because we all know that a baby needs to be fed and we all know that fed is best. But you know what? Breast milk is amazing, and breast milk is something to work hard for. And if a mom works hard for it, I feel like we're at the age where we almost need to defend the choice to breastfeed, whether that's nursing or pumping, because formula is so easy and formula is so available that people are like, well, why would you waste all this time? Like, yes, formula is incredible and it saves breastfeeding journeys and it saves babies' lives every day. And breast milk's also really amazing. And if a mom wants to work to it,
what you're saying is so true. And it's going to segue into our next topic. I almost feel like people now, like I am still breastfeeding. I breastfeed till about a year, and my son is around 8 months at the recording of this episode. And people are like, you're still breastfeeding him? Like, ew, why don't you just give him formula? We're like, why is it your business? Like, it doesn't, there's literally no sweat off your back.
That's so wild to me. He's not even 1 year old yet. Also,
no.
Why are people commenting about how you're feeding your baby? Like,
no, literally, Tamari, like still. And I'm like, so he's little. He's like, he doesn't even have he doesn't walk. He's a baby. But I want you to talk about, because I think until I did it both ways, I don't think I understood how is pumping different, exclusively pumping, I should say, than nursing. Because I think people are like, well, it's the same thing or not. How is it different?
Great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. And that's like a really very good question, I have to say. I don't think I've ever actually been asked that. I talk about it oftentimes because something that, similar to the fed is best situation, something like a mantra that's in like the pumping world. And for those of you guys who don't know me, I love being different and I love having my own opinions. And if I agree with you, I will happily agree with you, but I will have no problem saying how I feel. Even if you don't agree with me. And specifically, I find other lactation consultants, not as much nowadays. I find that like the younger the lactation consultants are, like it's better. Like the lactation consultants have a very bad rep because a lot of them are like in their 50s or 60s, very much back in the day of like, just stick the baby on. Like, thankfully, we really are, especially specifically with Instagram and social media, we are moving a lot towards the fact that like we need help for different things, and like whatever method you do. And the one thing that people always say is like, pumping is breastfeeding. Okay, yeah. Pumping is breastfeeding because you're giving your baby breast milk. But pumping is not nursing. And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of these like rah-rah moms want to make it seem that like pumping and nursing are the same thing because they want to make pumping moms feel better and feel not less than. And as someone that has exclusively pumped, honestly, basically for all four of my kids, like I nurse my baby who's also currently 8 months right now. We nurse one time a day. For my third, we nurse like twice a day. And my first two I pumped. I'm really just like a pumping mom. I love
Yeah.
nursing, but the lifestyle that I have, I want to be able to like leave my baby, say goodbye, and see you at the end of the day. So as someone that has really done both things, pumping and nursing, while both phenomenal because they are both very much giving your baby the benefits of breast milk, they are not the same thing
Not at all.
at all. They are completely different animals. And like the information that you need from nursing is completely different from pumping,
Yeah.
which, just so you know, is why One with the Pump was born.
Yeah.
Because moms were going to lactation consultants who specialize in nursing, and they were getting a lot of information from a nursing perspective, which is completely different. Your
100%.
baby needs to eat every 3 hours, every 2 hours, every hour. You pumping, you have to pump between every 2 and 4 hours. It's not the same thing. How many minutes you need to nurse for is not the same amount of minutes that you have to pump for. Your baby's nursing from you, emptying amazing, totally eating well. You get on the pump and nothing's working. I don't respond to a pump. No, it's because you don't have the right information. You need a flange. You need a flange size. You need to make sure that you're
Oh my
using
God.
the correct pump. There's so much information there that a pumping mom needs, and they are completely separate. So the biggest thing that like when people come to us, I have lactation consultants that work at One with the Pump with me. So I have one that does specialize in nursing as well. So she can
Yeah.
help you virtually latch, but we don't really do latching. And I'm super upfront with people when they come to me and they're like, I need help latching. I go, here's the thing. If you're having difficulty latching, that means that you're also having difficulty building your supply. That means that if your baby isn't latching, you have to use a pump to empty your breast milk. There's so many things that you have to
Yeah.
do. So we help you with that, but we don't necessarily help you with the latching because
Yeah.
they are different. So
Yes.
I have recommendations. I say, go to her. She's absolutely amazing for nursing. She will be able to help you. But right now on this consult, let's discuss everything else that you need for nursing regarding schedules, regarding how to work your pump. Let me size your phalange. Let's talk about increasing supply using a pump because there's so many things to do involving a pump that have nothing to do with nursing. So I really want you to understand they are totally different. And thank you for kind of bringing light to
Yeah.
that because no one ever does.
And
I'm very passionate about this.
no,
You can't go.
I totally agree with you because the other thing that I think is so important, and you bring it up a lot, and I'll let you kind of delve into that, is the time commitment with nursing is very different than the time commitment
Yes.
with pumping.
Yes.
It's just different. It's not when it's harder or
It's just
easier. It's just very different. But a big thing that I found when I was pumping is you have to be one step ahead of the baby, meaning you have to have milk to give the baby to eat
yes.
if you want
Yes.
to just give breast milk. And that comes with something that you are incredible at, which is supply. I know a lot of people will come to you and ask you, like, I want to build my supply because that's really important for nursing or building a stash.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who've in the past, I've had so many friends who are like, I just can't breastfeed because my supply wasn't great last time. Is it just genetics? What are kind of tips and tricks you would say, or is there a way to build supply? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the time of this recording of this podcast, I am making about 10 ounces less a day than my baby needs. And that is by choice.
Yeah.
So when and that's something that really big that I want to assess. So genetics plays a massive role inside of your supply. Sometimes there is nothing more that you can do and a person simply cannot make enough.
Yeah.
However, I would give it maybe 60-40, 40% genetics, 60, maybe I want to change that to a little bit more. You're just not doing the correct things because so many people will come to me. You know, it's funny because a lot of moms that come to me actually are not coming to me for their first. A lot of them come to me for their second or third because when you're a first time mom, either they didn't find me or they just don't believe that that's what they need. They'd rather spend the money on supplements and getting a consult which actually has the correct information. And it's like, I do my best with the first time moms, but I understand that like they kind of need to go on that self journey to realize that like I didn't have the right information. So the second time mom, she comes back around, she books a consult within the first week or two or month or two. And she's like, okay, what am I doing here? And then we realized she was on the completely wrong schedule the first time. She was using 10 times too big or too small phalanges. She was using the absolute wrong pump. You know, every time her baby was taking a bottle, she wasn't doing anything. She was just giving the baby a bottle.
Because I think this is a huge thing. Not all pumps are created equal. Like I think that's something you talk about all the time. You do reviews, but like really that's a huge thing.
It's
people
a huge
don't get
thing.
that. People don't get that.
And it's really, and everyone, and I did the same thing when I was buying my first pump for the first time. I just asked my other friend which pump she used, and she gave me a name, and I just got that. I didn't do anything different, which is why on my website, onewiththepump.com, you can find all of my free pump reviews that are constantly getting updated, because I always feel bad when someone comes to me after the fact. Once I don't want you to have to spend money. Like if you've booked a consult or you're messaging me, like I want to be able to help you in the cheapest way possible, because I know how expensive life is, postpartum is, everything is. But if you come to me and you have a bad pump, I say like, I'm really sorry that you ended up choosing that one through insurance. I even so much as so has made a free quiz that you can get on my website called Which Pump Should I Choose? So that someone could say this is what I'm doing. I'm a first time mom. I already own this. I'm getting it through insurance. I'm paying for it. And I send you the result in your email, which pump you should get. Because if you come to me where you've already been using the incorrect pump, you are 15 steps behind. Now, I will not tell you that on consult because I don't want to make you feel bad. And my goal is to keep you positive. But in my head, I'm like, all right, we are doing major damage control right now because you've already been using the incorrect pump for however many months or weeks that you've been doing it. And we got to fix it, because all pumps are absolutely not created equal. You need something called a primary pump. And you can look, there's primary pumps that you should be using 24/7. And then there's wearable/secondary pumps, which you can be using 1 to 2 times a day max. You're using it more than that, it is most likely damaging to your supply. There's going to be the mom that's going to message me and say, oh, but I use a wearable all the time and it works. Fantastic. If you can do that, I'm so happy for you. For 90% of moms, you got to use a primary pump. You can find all these different options constantly updated on my website and on my Instagram, just so you know. But yes.
No, I just like, I learned that from you. I know I'm like such a chassid of yours. You don't know this. But I was like pregnant with this baby and I was like, Tamari said that's my secondary pump. I need a primary pump. And I didn't even know that. And then of course, like I'm like spreading the message to my friends. I'm like, no, Tamari said that.
And you didn't know. And you didn't know. And that brings back to the question that we were answering about the supply is like, there are so many ways to increase your supply and to build it from day one. Or listen, you can increase your supply, I don't want to say easily, but not so hard, up until 12 weeks. If you are 12 weeks postpartum or before, and you're listening to this podcast, let's do something about it yesterday. Book a consult, grab my course, whatever one it is, get the information yesterday. If you are after that, it's not impossible, but it's harder. If you came to me and you're using the completely wrong phalange size, there is what to be done, and we can do our best to fix it. So to answer your question, there are plenty of things to increase your supply. None of them have anything to do with the supplements, the expensive supplements, or the expensive and fattening cookies that you're having. None of that. None of
the cookies and the beer.
Listen, they're delicious. I gained 25 pounds on them eating them with my first kid because I thought that was what I really wanted. But it actually was not the case in the end. There's plenty of things that you can do. Genetics absolutely plays a part, and I will always be upfront and honest. And I will tell someone, listen, you can do these 5 things. Give it 3 weeks, give it a month's tops. If nothing changes, you have to make peace with it and decide what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, but you should at least try. And I think that goes in really well into my next topic, which I'm so excited to be spicy with you because I know you have strong feelings on this. And for some reason, the internet, I know we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but the internet has a lot of feelings about the following: formula versus breast milk. People will rip each other to shreds on like TikTok and Instagram about formula versus breast milk. I'm gonna say my opinion, and it's not as spicy as yours, I'm sure, but I'm like, it is not my business what you do with your body and with your babies. It's not. I do think that you should get all the information you need and go to someone like Tamari so that you make the best choice for you. But ultimately, it is not Bracha's opinion or Bracha's business what you do with your babies. I said what I said. That being said, I feel like there is a culture, like I feel like when our moms were, no, your mom's a little younger than my mom, but I'll say my mom, when she was raising her kids, it was like formula was like if you were a good mom, you used formula because breast milk was like not as good. And the pendulum has kind of swung the other way, where it's like, if you're using formula, you're poisoning your baby. Don't you love your baby? Why would you poison your baby? And I feel like you've talked a lot on your platform about formula being a tool and not a failure. Tell me what your thoughts are on that, and your thoughts on formula versus breast milk.
So I love formula, and I love it for exactly what it's for. It's either to fully feed your baby, it's either to supplement missing breast milk, or it's either there just as a support should you ever need it. You might never need it. I also love breast milk. I think it has absolutely incredible benefits. You know, my husband's family in general, they have like just like an upset stomach, maybe just like an Ashkenazi Jew stomach kind of thing. And like, you know, they do say that breast milk versus formula is very helpful for the gut and things like that. So listen, I wouldn't have created an entire business about breast milk if I didn't think that it was fantastic. Do I think that breast milk is better than formula? It's a tough question, because part of me wants to say yes, but there's nothing better than a mother's mental health. So if you had zero problems and you were given 2 bottles every single day in front of your face that you had to do zero work for, formula or breast milk, I think that 99% of moms would take the bottle of breast milk. If they were given 2 bottles every single day, they had to do no work for it. It came from them, so it didn't come from a stranger. It was their breast milk that magically appeared in a fridge. I think we all know that majority of us would probably use breast milk. Does that mean there's something wrong with formula? No, getting breast milk is not magic at all. And it takes so much work, which is the main reason why a lot of people don't do it, because it's a massive time commitment. It's a massive emotional commitment. It's a physical commitment. It's just huge. So I think that breast milk is fantastic. And I think that when a mom is able to do it, when a mom, you know, whether that's working really hard or working less hard, I think it's great. What I don't appreciate is lately, specifically, I'm not going to name the company because I'm not going to give them that credit on here. Are these ads from companies where they are kind of, you know, showing how amazing it is to finally give up pumping and finally stop breastfeeding, and just, I'm thriving now that I have my bottle of formula.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's so unfair. Like, and honestly, like, I never judge creators on the brand. I totally judge creators of the brands that I take. I don't even know why I'm saying that. I absolutely do. But I wouldn't normally do it regarding formula. But the reason why I do it is because I've seen multiple of these creators showing themselves working hard for breast milk, not showing themselves getting any support, not showing themselves, like, they just show the struggle. They don't show themselves having a lactation consult. They don't say, oh, I just did this and I got my phalanges. They don't talk about any of that. They talk about the struggle, and then they say, now that I'm using formula, I'm thriving. And that's so unfair. And that marketing is so unfair to a vulnerable mom, especially a first-time mom. And it's also so unfair that you can get formula for free, or you can get coupons for formula, and you can get formula paid for by the state, but you can barely get a lactation consult paid for by the state. You can or like a reputable one. Maybe you can get someone that's like subpar because they're working for pennies. You know, you can't get, like, I would love it if I could give my course away for free to every single mom because the government was paying me, and now I can go ahead and give it to all my moms. Or the government wanted to pay me what I was actually worth, and now me and my team can go and help moms. None of that's happening. They're just offering free formula to moms everywhere and just saying, you might as well do this. And honestly, what's a mom to do? What's a mom to do? It's so not working. She can't afford a lactation consult. She can't afford all these different things, and she's getting formula for free. What do you think she's going to do? So that's really my issue with the formula. A formula is great. It saves journeys. It saves moms. It saves mental health. It saves postpartum depression. But we should be giving the same care and the same support for moms who want to nurse and pump.
I'm going to add to that, and I'm going to be probably a little controversial, but it's almost like people in this country who, and I can't speak for other countries, maybe it's everywhere, but people in this country, because we're both in the States, are really set up for an uphill battle if they want to feed their baby with breast milk.
Yes.
Because like you're saying, like
100%.
it for most people, maybe for some, but for most people, it is not like easy. And especially if you're a working mom, it is really hard to.
You're fighting for your life to get
Yes.
to get a pump break. You're fighting for your life to get the correct pump and the correct storage. I always say you have to be so committed to this. If you want to, you can't like, maybe I'll see how it goes. When I have a mom come to me and they say, maybe I'll see how it goes, I'm happy to help them, but I know where it's going. And honestly, like once in a while, people surprise me and it's great. But if you're like, okay, I'm like, you're not going to do it, which is fine. Like you don't have to. But if you're going to go and you're going to go back to work and you're going to pump in the middle of the night and do this, you have to have this unnatural want to give breast milk that I have, that it sounds like you had, that a lot of people have. But if you don't have that, you're not going to do it. And again, that's fine. But you hit the nail on the head by saying we are already set up completely to fail before we even start. Because you're told to get a birthing class, right? I got a birthing. Did you have a birthing class?
Of course I had a birthing class.
I was told to have a birthing class. I was crazy if I didn't get a birthing class. You think they said anything? You know what they told me about breastfeeding in that class? I should be drinking water. I don't have any milk and I wasn't drinking any water. I remember explicitly being like, how am I not drinking water?
I was joke. I mean, I took that birthing class because I, of course, was a first-time mom and checked everything, and I was responsible. And I remember it because my first was a C-section. They were like, and if you have a C-section, everything will be okay. And I was like, okay. You did not prepare me for anything. But
exactly.
I mean, listen, I exclusively pumped when I was working full-time as a teacher, and I was very, very full-time. I remember my pump room was like the animal, like preparation lab room. So it was like animals pickled in jars as you're pumping, and you're like, oh, don't.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. I'm like, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up.
That's insane. I mean, your bathroom is bad, but that's also pretty bad.
No, because that was the room that it was set up for pumping, and I was like, oh, okay, which was insane. But like, and that's where I had to run to. And keep in mind, you're a teacher, right? Like, you don't have these unlimited breaks, so you run, you pump, and then you run back to class, and like maybe you like go to the bathroom, maybe you don't. Like it's really hard, and I like you taking the time to acknowledge that, because people think like, oh, nursing is easy, like none of it is easy. It is so hard.
I do say that exclusively pumping is a lot easier in the beginning, but nursing is easier in the long run. So like when you're in those very early days and like your baby keeps falling asleep and you're nursing again and again every hour, like it's so easy to just pump and give a bottle. But if you do hang out and get into the hang of it, it is much easier down the road to do that essential, like just pick up your shirt and like nurse for the people that actually does work for. That is a lot easier. Pumping later in life, and to bring back to actually what I said a bit ago, which was that I'm making less than what he needs. That was a very active choice for me. So I do have what's called a high breast storage capacity, which means that my breast can hold a lot of milk at a time, and I make a lot of milk, like an unnatural, not normal amount of milk when I'm pumping upwards of 5 times a day. So I had like a full freezer stocked, and I made the choice to go down to pumping 4 times a day and make just enough. And then recently I'm 8 months postpartum now, and I just was like, I don't want to pump 2 times a day. Morning and night for some reason doesn't bother me, I guess, because like it's just so part of my routine. But those 2 in the middle of the day, like that 4 or 5 p.m. when my kids are home, I'm like, this is not happening. So I made the active choice to just go down to 1 pump in the middle of the day. So I do like somewhere between like a 12 and 2 p.m., knowing that my body is not able to sustain exactly what he needs. So I use 1 bag out of the freezer every single day, along with the rest fresh. And I made that choice for myself because it's really hard to get that 4th pump in. And I made that choice, and I'm lucky that I'm able to do that, because it's hard to do it otherwise, honestly.
It's so challenging. And I think you're getting at like something important, which is every child, when you have a baby, it's a different child, it's a different journey. There are some people that choose to exclusively pump. I think people are like floored by that. What would be a reason someone would choose to exclusively pump?
Yeah, people are floored by that. But I'm seeing it more and more. If you have a type A personality, meaning like you like things very on schedule, very exact, very regimented. You are not go with the flow in the slightest bit. You like to exclusively pump because you want to give your baby the benefits of breast milk, but you want to know exactly how much they're getting, exactly how much you're pumping. You're not here for the like, he probably ate kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Versus the type B personality who's like, oh, he'll eat when he wants to eat. Like, he'll just do what he wants to. Like, people choose to exclusively pump, in my opinion, in my experience, more like what I've seen, is when they cannot handle the chaos of like, when did he nurse? When does he have to nurse next? It's too stressful for people. That's really the main reason why I see people choose to pump. Other than that, you have people for traumatic reasons, they are not in the place to have someone else touch their breast, so they choose to pump for that reason, is also an option. Those are the two main reasons why I see. The other option is like, you're just not with your baby enough to ever make nursing happen. And honestly, it's kind of like my reason right now, even though I don't consider myself exclusively pumping right now because I do nurse 1 time a day, but like the rest of the day I pump. And like, if he doesn't really care to nurse, the nursing at this point is really more for me, where like I want to keep that with him, so we do it. But like, that boy loves his bottles. He could care less about nursing. So I like essentially choose it just because like, I actually had a conversation with my lactation consultant when I was trying to make it work to just nurse. And it was so eye-opening because she looked at me and she goes, but Tamari, you don't have the lifestyle of someone that can just nurse. And I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, well, do you want to be with your baby all day, every day? And I was like, no, like, I love my baby. I don't want to be with him every day, all day. He's with a babysitter in my house, which I like. I like having him near me, but not next to me.
You have 3 other kids, Tamari. It's not like you're nothing to do in a business.
Like, I have a lot of things to do. You know, when my kids are not home, fine. But when my kids are home, like, it's just easier for me to not be dealing with it. And that was my choice. And you know, it just kind of worked for me to do that. Other than that, I do find the majority of people are what I call forced into exclusive pumping, meaning their baby went to the NICU, their baby won't latch, their baby's unable to latch, cleft palate, cleft lip or palate. Those are the kind of reasons why people will be forced into it as well.
And you know, I think it's interesting also when you've been on this exclusive pumping journey. Like, I went on an exclusive pumping journey with my first, and my second I was nursing. It's like a total different world. What do you say to people? Because I know you've had that with your third. You were able to nurse your third, which was, you talk about it as like, I don't want to say a fluke, but like something you were not expecting.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. Yeah.
How does that look different to you, going from exclusive pumping to nursing?
So I want my page and my business to always be an incredibly safe space for pumping moms. And before I was able to nurse, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but I literally couldn't even like hear the word nursing. I was grieving so greatly. I couldn't look at people nursing. I couldn't hear about people nursing. I couldn't, like, again, Instagram wasn't really a thing, but like after my second in 2020 was obviously a thing. I couldn't follow pages that talked exclusively about nursing. It was so hurtful to me, and it was so traumatic for me to hear it, which I know if you never went through, you don't understand. And that's fine. I'm happy you don't understand how I'm feeling, but it was so difficult. Did you find that from yourself? Was it hard for you to hear about nursing, or you didn't care?
No, I felt like a real, and you talked about it a little bit, I felt like a failure. Like, I couldn't have a vaginal birth. I had a C-section. Failure. I couldn't take my baby home. He had to go to NICU for a week. Failure. Then he came home when I couldn't nurse him. Failure. So it was like, it wasn't like I couldn't see that. I just saw failure all around me. And so like, I didn't want to bring it up because people are very well-meaning, but also terrible people. And anytime people brought it up, they were like, well, I had a baby that went to the NICU for like 4 years. I'm like, okay, no, you didn't. And all I needed was the right lactation consultant. You need Irma. Irma's there. I'm like, I don't want to go to Irma. Like, stop talking to me. So it was almost like an avoidance of like, I felt so terrible about myself that I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to be there. And when I was pregnant with him, and you talked about this a little bit, but for me, I was like, it's not going to work. And like, weirdly, I had a second baby that was a big breastfeeder. Like, I didn't do anything. I don't know how it happened. It just worked. And I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Maybe he'll figure out he should know how to do this. But it just did. I don't know how it worked. I got lucky.
Sometimes that happens 100%. And I find just to add on to what you said about feeling like a failure with the C-section, I find people feel that way all the time. And I also find that people that do IVF or have trouble getting pregnant, they feel like their body failed them from getting pregnant. And now their body's failing them because they don't have enough milk or their baby can't latch. And it's like, can my body do anything that it was meant to do as a woman? Like, it's really like the term failure is very, very big. And it really, it feels that way a lot. And it's very difficult. So I want my place to be a safe space. So I almost don't want to let people know too often. So I'm doing it kind of in the sanctity of this podcast. I don't like to talk about it too much about how beautiful nursing really is, because I wasn't able to do it with my oldest son or my daughter, and I love them deeply. I always say, like, I'll talk about it at their wedding, that they caused me drama back then. They go it is what it is, but it really is so beautiful to nurse. And while pumping to me feels easier, nursing, it just feels like this. Again, I almost feel bad to say it. So if you need to take a 1-minute pause from listening, but it's really this maternal, I don't want to say animalistic, but it does feel that way. And I never wanted to admit that, because I was grieving so hard the first two that I didn't get. But when I watch my baby nurse for me, I feel like, and again, I shouldn't, but I'm trying to kind of get to everyone's level where I'm like, even me, even if I say all the things and do all the things, I still do feel like a really real mom when I'm able to nurse my baby. I can do it just like everyone else. And I feel terrible for saying that, but you know me, I'm nothing if not incredibly authentic to be able to say that, I wish I didn't find nursing to be that beautiful. I wish it wasn't. I wish pumping was just as beautiful as nursing. But if I was able to get my baby to nurse every day, and I was able to be the mom that picks up her shirt and does it, even when you're saying you nurse your baby for 15 months, till this day, my son is 8, there's still a pang in me that's I'll never have a baby that naturally nurses for 15 months. I want to be that mom who my baby won't stop. How do I get my 15-month-old to stop? I'm sounds like a problem that I will never have.
It's so true.
And it's which is crazy, because look what I'm doing, but I'm still that person that was grieving the journey of my firstborn that I couldn't have. I'm telling you, my baby could care less about nursing, and I wish he didn't. And even now, on days where he's distracted now, so when he doesn't nurse well, I feel trauma and I feel trigger coming up. He doesn't want me. He's not going to nurse onto me, and it brings me back. He's rejecting me. It still feels that way.
No,
it's so hard. It's really difficult.
I listen, I love that you're being honest about it, because it is hard. I went through very similar things with having a C-section and then doing my vaginal birth. That was my redemption story for me.
Yeah.
And right. I went through feelings like that with IVF. What I will say to everyone who's listening is that everyone is going to have their version of mourning, whether it's this or something else in their life, where it doesn't go the way that you want it to or you thought it would. That's okay. It's okay to feel sad. And I don't know if this was important to you, but it was very important for me for people to allow me to feel sad and not make it better.
Yeah.
Please don't make it better. I didn't have a vaginal birth for my first son. I will be sad about that for a long time. You don't get to make it better by saying, but you had a baby. No.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I want one last, kind of question on this segment is proactive versus reactive with this. It's something you're very, very vocal about. And I think it's interesting what you said about the first time moms, because I feel like when you're a first time mom, a lot of the times you're reactive because you just got hit by a hurricane.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who want to be proactive? What does being proactive look like?
Regarding changing your journey?
Pumping, coming to see you, coming to see your amazing consultants. What does that look like?
Being proactive versus reactive. Being proactive, whether it's me or someone else, we happen to be the best. But whether
you guys really are. I want to pause because I want to plug this. You have such an amazing staff. I mean, even if you're just following the Instagram, I've learned so freaking much from just, quote unquote, just following the Instagram.
Thank you.
So make sure you're following You guys are also approachable and lovely. You're such a real, lovely, nice, approachable person. Like,
Thank you.
do not be embarrassed to
Thank
get help.
you.
Get help.
Thank you. Yes, I completely agree. At the minimum, follow me on all platforms, including Instagram, at One with the Pump, where I give just daily tips. Like at the minimum, come to that. At the, I want to say minimum also, but I guess at the maximum is actually get the help that you need. If you're unable to pay for it, you should call your insurance. A lot of times they will go ahead and they will reimburse you. So you may have to lay it out, but you can get reimbursed. You can use HSA, FSA. There's a lot of different things that you can do if you can't pay for it. And then on the other side, I always say, like, people don't want to pay for it because they don't want to pay for the service, but then you'll go to Target or you'll go out to lunch and you'll spend just as much, if not more, going out to eat, doing or spending on every single other product that you think is going to, this product, that phalange, this. No, just come to us. Let us tell you what you need, and then you'll take it from there. You don't need to do this alone. And honestly, it's quite difficult to do it alone. It's really like, you are not a professional in this space and you don't need to be. There's a reason why we go to doctors. Like, are you going to stay home and diagnose yourself again and again and again? Or are you going to pay to go get the help that you need? Because this really matters. So you can, whether it's being proactive or reactive, come get support, book a consult, take my ultimate pumping course, get the information that you are looking for and the support that you need.
Yeah. And I would say, like, it also makes a really great gift. Like, if you want to buy a gift for someone and it's their second baby and you know they had trouble, like, instead of buying them, I don't know, like a new personalized blanket that they don't need, go spend the money on this. I think it's a great thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I ask all guests at the end of the podcast for a piece of lasting advice. And the question is as follows. Tamari, what would you tell people if you weren't afraid of hurting their feelings?
Wow. Is this that deep? Is this in terms of breastfeeding?
Your piece of lasting advice, it can be breastfeeding, it can be life experience, anything you want to leave people with.
Honestly, I tell it to my kids all the time, and I really believe it, is that you really have to not care what other people think about you. I think that the reason why I have the life that I have everything about me, whether it's the way that I feel about myself, the friends that I have, the way that I look, the clothes that I wear, how confident and comfortable I feel in my skin. My favorite quality about myself is how little I care about what other people think. And I've always been this way. Like, you've known me 15 years ago. I've literally always been this way. It's getting, I don't want to say better or worse as I get older, because I really don't care now. Like, now I really don't care. But like, if my son will be like, oh, I don't know where that to school, I'm embarrassed, I'll be like, if someone tells you something, ask them if they're jealous, if they wanted to, that my mom could send your mom the link. Like, I'll tell them them that. And you really, like, stop caring what other people think. Think about the way that you feel when you are around certain people. If you don't feel good about yourself when you're in the room with certain people, remove yourself from that room, because that person is never going to change. And those are really the two pieces of advice that I go through my every single day with, that I preach to my children. And it's made me have a happy life. So I think those are two good ones that I would like to leave you with.
That's amazing. Tamari, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
How can people find you?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I feel like I haven't gotten this deep and emotional on a podcast or in general in a while. And this was actually nice to be able to open up in this way. It's kind of healing to be able, like, I feel like this is a nice therapy session. So thank you for doing this. So it was great. You could find me on all platforms at One with the Pump. We are on Instagram, is like the biggest one, where I have like all of my stories and all my stuff. We're also on TikTok, YouTube. I also have a WhatsApp chat that you can join, where you'll get all the direct posts if you are not on social media. You can email us for the link, info@onewiththepump.com. And then or you can go onto my website, onewiththepump.com, and you can literally find free resources, free PDF guides, tons of different videos about how to thaw breast milk, how to store breast milk, different pump reviews, product reviews, all for free on my website, onewiththepump.com. We are there. We are ready to help you with anything that you need. And thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm going to plug one more thing, because you might be thinking like, oh, I'm not breastfeeding, or that's not the parsha that I'm in. If you have anything to do with children, so you are a mom, you are an auntie, you are a dad, an uncle, whatever you are, or a grandma, Tamari's mom content is fabulous. Like, just follow her for that. I didn't have a kid for 5 years, and I was like, the toy links, just the toy links. I was like, no, I'm not joking. It's everything. Like, I gift guide. So like, she is incredible. She is like a one-stop shop for everything. I can't highly recommend enough, because I really do love, like, authentically, I love your content. And I think, like, yes, you have this whole business, but you've really built, and I hate this word, it sounds cheesy, a community, but you really have built a community of people.
Thank you.
And so
well, we also have, as a side note, we also do have a membership community of exclusive moms where we just, like, it's off of social media, it's off of the noise, it's just us. It's called the Pump Squad, and you're welcome to be there as well. And you also can get 1 free month. I give everyone who's my follower just 1 free month to come try it out if they want to. And also, I will give all of your amazing guests a 20% off coupon for the Ultimate Pumping course, should you want to do that as well. We'll do discount code Bracha, BRACHA, and you can have 20% off as well, the Ultimate Pumping course. And if you need anything, you can always reach out to us. If you feel like you need support and you don't know where to find it, please reach out to us, because we can help you and guide you in our community.
She's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Live to 120 with Bracha. Until next time, live long and live strong.